Lloyd, and we're at the Nelson Farm, Neldell Farm.
In Wisconsin Dells.
In Wisconsin Dells, which is the Nelson family, Don and Anita, Peter and Toril, and my husband Nels and me. We milk about 300 cows through this parlor 3 times a day. And so this is called a pit parlor, a parallel double 8. So you milk 8 cows on each side. And it's much nicer for the people milking because they don't have to bend down underneath every cow. And they have little automatic shut-off, so when the cow goes, the milk stops flowing as much, it just pops off. And right now she's writing down, so she must have noticed that one of the cows didn't give very much milk, sort of uncharacteristically. So then she writes that down, and then like my husband will come and check the cow to make sure she's not. We ship about 27,000 pounds of milk a day from the big bulk tank. The milkman comes every day. That's why Wisconsin has such a lot of paved roads, because it was from...
So we are next to the milking plant.
Yeah, so
this is your little...
Anita was able to convince the boys to put in a viewing room so that we can have tours here, and we host some school groups, definitely at the end of the school year when they're doing their like May field trips. And then we have some meetings in here, and we do other groups.
And we even had Thanksgiving dinner.
We have had Thanksgiving dinner here. The first time I met my husband, I was right here eating Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow. So, and I noticed that characteristic of Anita, in the viewing room of the milking parlor, is the piano.
Yes, of course. One must have a piano in every room.
One must have a piano next to the cows on the farm.
Yeah, of course. Up from calves, so we don't buy in animals.
Those little...
So you'll see lots of different sizes of animals. So that probably means we have about 600 or so animals total. Some of them are over on the farm where Nels and I live, which is where Don, Nels' dad, was born.
Okay.
So that's the old farm, and they used to milk cows there until like the 70s. And then we have about 1,000 acres of land that we run for the farm, so we grow everything that we feed the cows. We try to buy as little as possible. We have to buy the mineral and the salt, obviously, and then sometimes we may need to buy a little bit of hay, or but for the most part we can feed everything. These are actually June prices, but it represents when you buy something at the grocery store, like what the farmer actually gets out of that. And these are sort of generalized U.S.-wide prices, so they may differ a little bit depending on where you live. But really what's going on is, you know, consumers haven't been paying less for food over time. In fact, they've been increasingly paying more. But the farmer's share of that food dollar has been shrinking. And so the people getting the money are the distributors, well, the processors, and the grocers. And farmers just want their fair share. So it's not that there's actually money in the marketplace. You know, at this price, farmers could get a price that covers their cost of production. But right now, in a lot of cases, we're not even getting enough in the market to cover our cost of production.
Is that because of commodities, or is that because of...
It's the concentration in the industry to some extent, you know.
Because of the big agribusiness.
Yeah, there's fewer and fewer processors, there's fewer and fewer grocers. You know, you think about the kind of Walmart effect. You know, Walmart now, with its food business and grocery business, it can like dictate prices that it wants to pay. And it's not just Walmart. You know, you've got some of the larger chain grocery stores that own, you know, huge territories of like all the grocery stores pretty much. And so they can dictate price more effectively. On top of that, you've got concentration in the processing sector, you know, meat packing, even in dairy to some extent, although dairy is a little bit more distributed. So basically farmers just aren't contending. And then we have these, for dairy, for example, we have kind of rigid federal pricing systems that aren't responding to the reality of today. So we got paid below our cost of production. Dairy farmers in general for most of 2009, if not all of 2009.
Yeah, weren't you below?
Yeah, milk, we were getting paid the base price was even $9 for 100 pounds, and the average cost of production in Wisconsin is $15.
So you were losing
So people were borrowing money to operate for all of 2009. Well, consumers were not paying anything less for milk. These are June prices. I think
so
we paid...
a consumer went and bought a gallon of fat-free milk for $4.39.
Right.
You got paid $1.26.
This is the retail price, and what I was saying is the money's already in the marketplace to pay us our cost of production. But the grocer and the distributor and the processor are taking more than their fair share. So it's not going to be convenient. The revolution will not be convenient. Consumers that care about farmers are going to have to do some homework and figure out...
And do a lot of their own legwork.
Yeah.
So consumers need to really be more aware that when they don't shop from their farmers,
right,
it's actually, that money continues to go to the distributors
right.
and the processors,
right.
and doesn't come to you when you guys and your
right.
family is working, probably 12 hours a day?
18.
18 hours a day between how many people?
Yeah, 6, and we've got 6 employees. So. The problem is, if I'm a medium-sized producer, I can't go to the farmer's market and sell...
Because you're not the quaint artisanal...
Well, and I have too much milk. How can I sell 28,000 pounds of milk through the farmer's market? I can't, and it's fluid milk, and I could make cheese with it.
Well, you can pull up your tanker truck, and people can just bring a bucket, that's going to work, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the question then is, if the commodity markets where I'm just selling this anonymous, fungible product into the market, that's like a commodity market. It's not differentiated. My milk is supposedly just like my neighbor's milk, and it goes in a big pot, and we get paid the same price. Now, if I want to try to differentiate that in the medium size, then I need to figure out some way to do that.
We need a new commodity structure.
Right, or sort of new supply chains that maintain value and identity. So that, we need to be creative to figure out, how to do this, because I don't think we can expect that all the food can sort of go through a farmer's market or go through a direct market, because that's just sort of not realistic. Some of it can, and the more that can is probably the better.
We need multiple venues,
yes, exactly.
And right now we've had one,
right,
which is the big commercial
thing. And then we've got farmers markets and CSA,
which are cute, and I love them,
and they're important.
But for the medium producers like you, we need 1 or 2 different things in the middle.
Exactly.